HVG, which is a high vehicle driving those tankers. We could get a lot of money. They are well paid. So that is the scenario which is in London. Is a very, while in Kenya we are crying of high prices of fuel, Miriam, here we are crying of lack of the liquid itself. It is not that it's not there, but there are no drivers to carry the liquid from the sea, which is a few. I am just near Orpington and Kent. On this side, when I go out of my garden, I will see Orpington and send that side the road going to Kent, where the sea is. So good morning, Miriam. That is what I can tell you from London.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for that update. So as you can see, our topic for today is Amendment of Leadership and Integrity Act, and this is in line with the war against corruption. So let's see what the members of parliament are up to. And on page 4 of the Star newspaper, many pro-handshake members of parliament have mooted a plan to lock out graft suspects from clearance to run for elections. The lawmakers are pushing for amendments to the Leadership and Integrity Act to bar anyone facing serious crimes or crimes related to graft from contesting any seat in 2022. The argument against this has always been the suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law and exhaust all possible appeals. That's also in the law. The plan was revealed in snippets of a letter to National Assembly Justin Muturi seen by the Star on Sunday. In the fresh bid to tighten election qualifications, the lawmakers seek to amend the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 and the Elections Act 2011. They want the laws amended to suspend a state or public officer who has been formally charged with a corruption-related offense. They also want officers facing other serious crimes related to corruption to step aside once charged and to bar persons who are facing corruption charges from being nominated as candidates for election positions. Part of the letter read, so Doc, with this new development here, will this pass in Parliament? And if so, are we on the right track when it comes to fight against corruption in this country?
Thank you very much. A former Prime Minister, the late Prime Minister of Singapore, used several methods in order to fight corruption. One of the methods that were used by the Prime Minister was to bar people who had anything rumored from going near a government office or from being employed by the government. So in doing so, Kenya is reinventing its will to reinforce Chapter 6, to ring around Chapter 6. It is very sad for somebody who has stolen money and who continues to steal money, government money, to deny services, to come again to be a leader and talk about the same things. It looks sad, shambolic for leaders to maintain a scenario where people have no right to question how you got your money. So this bill, this law, if enacted, should actually send a warning to those leaders who want to lead others, that before you come before God, remember, ask for forgiveness and say, I was wrong. Talk to the people and convince people. Come with clean hands. As Sharon always said, equity. I have not, that word equity. Equitable justice needs come with it, with clean hands. But you can't go and legislate against other people when you have dirty hands. Miriam, I welcome the law.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Samuel Tawish, what are your thoughts about this new move that MPs allied to the handshake now want, tabling a bill in Parliament to strengthen, I think, Chapter 6 of Leadership and Integrity Act?
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you to the rest of the panel and indeed everyone who is watching the program this morning. Miriam, the truth of the matter is that this is something that is long overdue. This is something that we should have enacted and even enforced years back. In fact, ever since we passed the 2010 Constitution, we should have moved swiftly to ensure that the Chapter 6 on integrity has been enforced in as far as our leadership is concerned in the country. But I think, just like Dr. Masanga has said, the people who are legislating, people whom we have given the mandate to legislate on our behalf, that is the lawmakers, are not doing as much of that, of course, service. That is why you see today there's been a great compromise when it comes to making sure that the Chapter 6 on integrity and leadership is watertight and that no one will exploit, no one will have a loophole really to evade of course, the fundamentals that are being captured, or rather the parameters being captured in the Chapter 6 of integrity and leadership to get into position of power when they are not suitable to be in those positions. But I think much as it's late, Miriam, I welcome the move. It's a step in the right direction, and I hope that the lawmakers are not going to be distracted in this endeavor to ensure that we are going to tighten the Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity to make sure we're not going to have individuals who adversely mention, say, on corrupt activities, say, on criminality, say, individuals who have been charged getting elected into our offices, Miriam. Another thing, Miriam, is that we should also work on this question of the anticipatory bail. Because again, if there's something that the lawmakers can do to make a change on that particular clause, the anticipatory bail, because it's given a leeway. Dr. Masanga usually says it, that you have an individual who goes to steal, but again rushes to court seeking the anticipatory bail, which eventually bars him from being arrested when you know exactly he has committed that particular crime. So these are some of the I will say things that are retrogressive, things that are actually defeatist in as far as the fight against corruption and making sure that we strengthen Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity is concerned. So in as much as lawmakers are working on strengthening that particular chapter and the related clauses, they should also move swiftly and ensure that there will never be any loopholes that these rogue individuals will exploit and get shortcuts to get themselves into power. Because again, by the end of the day, it is the ordinary mwananchi who really suffers out of such kind of activities. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you. Now, should Muturi approve the request, the lawmakers want laws amended to close lacuna, or what is termed as the gaps in law that have barred anti-graft agencies from enforcing the integrity rules. We want to ensure that Chapter 6 on integrity of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is given proper effect, another member of parliament said. And Constitution Article 99 provides that a person is disqualified from being elected as Member of Parliament if he or she could be subjected to imprisonment for at least 6 months as at the date of registration as a candidate. It also applies to a person found to have misused or abused a state office or public office or any other way violated Chapter 6 of the Constitution. However, the law contains a rider saying a person is not disqualified unless all possible appeals and reviews of a sentence or decision are exhausted. Like we've seen in the case of, remind me the member of Parliament at Wishu already was sentenced, but he's now out on
Waluke.
Yes, Waluke. He was found guilty. Yes. He was found guilty. Maybe, Doc, you can say something before I go to Sharon.
No. First of all, Miriam, you cannot only amend the electoral law. You have to amend the entire Constitution of Republic of Kenya. You have to amend, that's why Uhuru Kenyatta was talking of a BBI, which people did not agree with. Do you know that Tawishi, we are coming to mini BBIs? Mini BBI. We are putting in mini BBIs now. We are bringing in small. If you are amending the Electoral Act, amend the Judicial Act of bail. You can't give bail to an economic crimer, a man who has done economic crime. In Rwanda, in Singapore, which everybody, Prime Minister Raila Odinga quotes Singapore, Ruto quotes Singapore, Malaysia, Uhuru Kenyatta quotes. Those were the laws that were amended to safeguard, to remove corruption completely out of the system. Therefore, it is very important for us to know that you need, at least, you need a situation where you will not even go through. You can't go through and get nominated. 2, when you reach the court, again, you need a situation where a court is not going to release you. Just like that. And then you go and spend the money in Mauritius, or Madagascar, or Seychelles, or Zanzibar. You steal the money. What has happened in Kenya is that you steal the money today, you are sentenced to given bail tomorrow, you fly out, even go to the police station and tell them remove the whole thing, that give the police and sign. If you look at why the DPP is calling back the man who murdered the lady with the journalist, Jongwe, is it Jogu? Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Joey. Yes. Why is Joey being called back? They found out that he was not reporting. He was told to report to the nearest police station, and he went and signed and sat home. So that law needs to be changed, Miriam. It should be completely changed so that the judges can have no excuse to say we sentence people according to the laws. That is what I submit, that changing one law will not make it. But now, a question that we should ask each other, will these elections therefore be there? Because I've seen somewhere on one of your papers, I am wondering whether there will be an election at all in Kenya. There will be an election, but not in August. And Miriam, I predicted this, and the people were saying I was wrong. I was warmongering. But now I see the chances of no election because there are so many delays. This law must come in place. It must be activated. The coverage, if you are going to use electronic delivery of results, and there is no 3G in communication in areas of 4G, then we are done. Let's do these things before. That is my submission.
All right, thank you so much. Sharon Gitonga, we know that there are a couple of politicians who are facing some graft charges in relation to their integrity and leadership. Is at stake right now, and a few of them are Governor Okoth Obado of Migori, Muthoni Njuki of Tharaka Nithi, Sospita Ojamong of Busia, Moses Leland Kulal of Samburu, Ali Korani of Garissa. They are all facing charges in court, hence they presumably would not be eligible to contest the 2022 laws for amendment. And we also have the former Governor Evans Kidero, who I think will be seeking for re-election. We do have former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. I don't know if he will be seeking to be elected again, and others. And we do have also a number of members of parliament who are facing, graft charges or other criminal charges in the courts. And so we've seen from this story, this bill is being pushed by MPs allied to the handshake. So are they likely to get some opposition or support from the other side, allied to Deputy President William Ruto, when we know even in his campaign, he's not been talking so much about the war against corruption?
Thank you very much, Miriam, and to all my colleague panelists. First of all, I think this statement coming from the MPs to me sounds a bit ironic, because I think these are the same MPs who are victims of graft cases. So I think this will be like, a plot to locking themselves out of poll on graft cases. For me, I think these might not really materialize because I don't know, are these not the same MPs, who amended to give room for suspects to contest, given that a suspect is, innocent until proven guilty. So I don't know if this is really going to work, but the first appeal that I would, especially for the MPs, I think they should first all resign, from that parliament, because from where I sit, I feel like they all, lead in graft cases. Then from there, now we can start from there. And then now, once they've all resigned, from my opinion, I think now the amendment of the constitution can commence.
Okay, thank you. All right, very well. Samuel Tawish, as the members of parliament.
Sharon has no good words for the MPs at all. Sharon, from your background.
Duala says we should not trust them, so maybe she's just taking that.
Yeah, she's right. I mean, Miriam, I agree with her. Surely, when they brought those rules, they are the same ones who watered them down. Mm-hmm. Now they are seeing, I don't know where they are seeing somebody coming in, or they are zeroing on, I think we know whom they are zeroing to.
So is it targeted?
Yeah. There is one man there who is targeted. Yes. Because that guy will have a long way. Mm-hmm. I tell you, for that guy to be on a ballot paper, I have just been telling somebody on, I think you are watching me on a CAS TV. I was very frank. It is a long way, in fact, having come this way, and yesterday I had 1 or 2 meetings with friends, I think it is a tough thing. International community is not even very happy, Miriam. They're not. On the question of corruption here in Britain, even if they elect him, he will not step here. And that is the worst thing they are going to pronounce themselves. I mean, it is very, very, very bad that huge amounts of money have just gone. And the trend in Africa, before Tawish comes in, looks like, look at the Minister of Finance of Guinea. He had $1.3 billion in the house. Look at the president of Zambia, who was doing business with our friend. One of the wives, there were dollars. Huge, a whole of house was full of dollars. Look at, corruption is dotted. Everybody is stealing. And when you come to Kenya, you need only to have oxygen. And that oxygen can be done in Kenya. It's a very simple exercise to have oxygen in Kenya. You need to have it, and the people will not even complain to you. People will be say, okay, eat the money, but you have given us oxygen in hospitals. But you don't find oxygen in hospitals. People here have taken off masks. Look why there are no masks here. I went to my church. I think we are only 4 to 5 people of us last night who had the masks. Because you put on your telephone, now the bar, I had to use this telephone. It says, you can't. The man inside the vicar or the warden knows that the guy entering has been vaccinated. And he will show you where to sit with those vaccinated. If your barcode shows you have 1 dose, that is also part of, we have human problems. And one of the mindset problem we have, Miriam, in Africa is what Gitonga has just said. And she only wanted to say, get out. She's really, I think in his stomach, Gitonga is very very fed up with the MPs.
I think she emphasized what Dwale said the other day, that our members of parliament are not to be trusted. When he said he does
No,
not.
Dwale himself cannot be trusted.
Yes, he's
That's-
I was not able to talk about that topic yesterday. But
Yeah,
Dwale himself
he's
is
a
not trusted.
politician, yes, so he can't be
He's a
trusted.
politician, he cannot be trusted. And therefore, he himself, if to say Ruto cannot be trusted, then you wait when they reach State House. You will see what I've been telling you, Tawish. You people who are younger, you didn't see the type of guys who are campaigning to go to State House, how they will turn Kenya into a police state. That everybody from the village arrives in Nairobi to be either in intelligence, he claims to be in intelligence, or police. You know how they operate. Oh, I'm working with so and so. Some of us were there, we know how things were. So for me, I don't think I am in agreement I'm actually in agreement with Gitonga. These MPs have done the double standard.
Okay, but nevertheless, I think it will be a good move. But the question is, will this bill see the day of light? Will it be passed in Parliament? I think that those who are moving it are pro the handshake. Are they likely to get support from the other side, Samuel Tawish, to garner enough numbers to pass this?
Very well. Thank you, Miriam, and thanks for colleague panelists for the submissions you've made on this question. Miriam, I'm equally skeptical that it might not sail through on the floor of the House, simply because the biggest culprits in this particular vice are the politicians themselves, and in most cases, I would say the MPs. And it does not matter which side of the political divide one really belongs to. These are just people who are cut from almost the same cloth. Of course, when it's about protecting their own interests, you'll always see them come together to defeat an agenda that it is for the interest of the people. When it's about increasing their salaries, you'll always see them actually gang up together. If it's about, for example, the qualification for one to contest for a seat, a parliamentary seat, or even a member of county assembly, you see how they have frustrated an effort for even people who are supposed to contest, the qualification for the contestants. In itself, Miriam, I'm seeing this as something that is dead on arrival. It is not going to see the support, not only of the other side of the political divide, Tangatanga, if I should be particular, but even in the Kieleweke, or even the handshake side of the divide. There are some individuals, even politicians, who are in that particular camp whose integrity is questionable. Look, for example, somebody like Babu Wino, what he did the other time with the DJ, you remember, and he's walking out here scot-free. Look at people like Aisha Jumwa, who comes from, is it Malindi? I mean, she's undergoing several court cases. Look at Ndindi Nyoro from Kiharu. Examples, you cannot quite exhaust the examples, Miriam, that we have. So it is not about which side of the political divide. I think politicians are almost the same. What matters is whether their interests are catered for or not. In itself, it tells you that this is an exercise in futility. It is something which is not going to succeed. Had we gone the BBI route, that the ordinary Mwananchi was to have a say in as far as voting for these particular changes in our constitution is concerned, then I will be hopeful, Miriam, that maybe there's something we're going to gain out of this. But if it's about the politicians, they're going to be taken to boardrooms. I mean, the envelopes are going to fly, and by the end of the day, this initiative is just going to die. It's just going to fade away. I do not expect anything out of it. But away from that, Miriam, I'm not equally persuaded and that such an initiative, a very important endeavor to have to legislate and strengthen Chapter 6 of the Constitution, really is targeting an individual, maybe in the name of Deputy President William Ruto, if I'm specific. Because again, if we go that direction, anyone out there, these are people who have fashioned the art of playing the victim card. People who feel like they are targeted in each and every endeavor. When it comes to the fight against corruption, when you want to strengthen the Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, there's a constant figure and fellow who comes out and says is being targeted. I do not understand whether the changes in the Constitution or intended legislation always as a name of opting for presidency or a certain individual allied to him. It is these legislations, the laws we are making as a country, are always for posterity, and they should be viewed in that respect. Any other deviation, any other sideshows that the Deputy President and his allies always try to portray are only but diversionary and trying to play victim card to win sympathy as we head to 2022. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. And as we conclude, now the Constitution, Article 99, provides that a person is disqualified from being elected as an MP if he or she should be subject to imprisonment for at least 6 months as at the date of registration as a candidate. And it also applies to a person found to have misused or abused a state office or public office or in any way violated Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution. So the law is very clear on that part. And then the law contradicts itself where it gives a rider that a person cannot be barred from occupying any public office until all legal avenues have been exhausted. So it's not because that person has not been found guilty, but if they want to appeal, they can go on until all these legal avenues have been exhausted. Maybe that's why, that guy from the MP is still out here when he's supposed to be in prison, Doc. So obviously our constitution needs some fixing, Sharon, before I go to Doctor.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I think in conclusion of this matter, one of the major setbacks when it comes to, the fight against graft is the perception that, one is innocent until proven guilty. So I don't know how we can go about that, because that is why most of these people are able to walk freely, whereas we know very well that, they have committed, they have gone, what is contrary to the law.
Yes.
Okay, so the law indicts them, and the law also gives them a leeway to do whatever, Doc. This is something that has created a loophole in what we've been looking at, and that's why maybe the judiciary lets off this guy, the people who have been charged with corruption, scot-free sometimes.
Miriam, I think that is why they usually say that the law is a double-edged sword. Of course, it goes for these individuals, but at the same time, it also insulates them. And I think basically that is what Sharon is trying to say, that this element of believing that one is innocent until proven guilty, I think this is also an aspect in our constitution that we need to look into. Once an individual has been indicted, for instance, they should stand guilty until they prove themselves innocent. I think that is what we need to do. We need just basically to revert it and make it, because when we do that, then we'll be making, a step forward in as far as the fight against graft is concerned. Because today, when you speak about individuals who have been indicted, people who have been arrested and taken to court, people who have been charged, they always have a leeway. And when you talk about exhausting all legal mechanisms, Miriam, when you have a judiciary that is compromised, judicial officers themselves engaging in corrupt activities, then the whole thing is defeated. The whole initiative is defeated. You cannot quite achieve this justice when you have a whole judicial system being corrupt itself. And that is why you see they say justice delayed is justice denied. How come that we cannot expedite matters to do with graft when it comes to our judiciary? Why don't we specialize and say we have a special division that handles matters to do with economic crimes, handles matters to do with the graft, handles matters to do with other serious crimes in the country, so that an individual cannot actually have an excuse to have their name, say, on the ballot when they are facing charges or when their names have been, of course, adversely mentioned in as far as graft is concerned. So I think the biggest challenge we are having as well is our very own constitution. And that is why you see every other time, Dr. Masanga and some of us still insist that BBI was the best dose for the perennial problems that this country has had. Because we would have reduced time that cases go through in our courts, we would have strengthened the Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, we would have made sure that the thieves in this country do not get anywhere near our public offices. But as it is today, we are just left at God's mercies. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you so much. And as we conclude, Doc, of course, these members of parliament, they say they want to ensure that Chapter 6 on integrity of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is given proper effect, and that is why they're bringing this in parliament. Will that come to pass, or this will continue to remain a mirage, even as we dedicate ourselves as a country to fight against corruption? Doc?
First of all, I'm sorry about that.
It's
okay.
I'm
here fine. Now. I am alone, so we have remained only to have to move. Thank you very much, Miriam. Let me tell you, this is a welcome gesture fighting corruption, making sure that the people of Kenya, Miriam, Kenya is respected worldwide. Kenya is a nation, the hope of Africa. As some countries are going down, this hope of Africa is rising. But let's modernize the politics, the way we handle things. I came on a plane with somebody, very senior person in a British establishment. We talked about Kenya and everything that the person was hitting on was corruption. Corruption and violence. When will it stop? When will it change elections without bloodshed? Like South Africa. That is the Kenya that people are looking at. So if this law constitutionally, in short, Miriam, we are going back to what Uhuru Kenyatta had proposed. The BBI, what Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga proposed is what people are doing now, piecemeal.
And it's actually Kenyans who proposed when they were giving their views, to the
yes, and the Kenyans, 4 million Kenyans gave their views that do this, the judges. So the judges of the Supreme Court must rise up for them to have history in Africa, talking about them for millions of years to come. Rise up and do one cardinal thing. Return the BBI. Forget about the elections, you can hold them. Nobody is saying you cannot hold them. You will hold them. But do this BBI first. Let the law pass. Let people decide that now corruption cases take only 2 to 3 months and you are sentenced. And change all these acts. That will be very better, a better Kenya for me. I submit and I thank you very much, all of you. And the analysts, when Miriam tells me to go, then we can go.
Doc, you can.
But that is my submission.
You can take your rest.
Yes.
Enjoy London.
Not the rest. I am running. Actually, I'm putting on a coat.
Okay.
I'm running for a meeting down in Victoria Station.
Okay.
And then from Victoria Station, I ran to Brighton, and then Brighton, I returned to London, Victoria Station again. I go to the university of my daughter. I have not been there today. Then I return for another meeting tonight, a dinner meeting. Remember, there is no curfew here, so we can have our dinner up to even midnight. So that there are meetings that I'm conducting here, which are very good for African affairs. Remember, Africa is hosting, Britain is about to host the COP Conference 16. You remember that? COP 6 is going to be held in Glasgow. And there are so many activities that are going on, and the lobby and so many other things which we need to do. So Miriam, I will be going to Chatham House on Wednesday. I'm sending a paper on Africa. Then the East African students in London School of Economics have invited me. Usually it is a big group comprising of about 700 to 1,000 people. They want me to talk. They have not, come back to me because we are negotiating on how much. I cannot talk for free on the topic of whether AU is dead or alive, or it is dying. So I'll release that paper, but I will be in those places. I'm fully working, walking, also getting exercise. I thank you very much, Miriam. Hold the fort. Kitawishi, hold the fort. Keep Gitonga, hold the fort. And Professor Onyari, I don't know where they are today.
He's probably in class teaching, but I'm sure he'll join us
yes.
when he's available.
Pass greetings to all of you.
I will
Thank
do
you.
that.
And the back studio, God bless.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. It was nice.
And as we end, the sunshine has just arrived.
All right. Good for you. Enjoy the sunshine, Doc. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you very much, Itonga, and the rest, and Olisasana, and Miriam, and Stephen, and the crew, the entire crew behind there. Asante sana.
Wamepokea salamu. Haya, asante. Thank you. And thank you for watching. I'll see you later with more news from across the continent. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace.